Good morning. Or perhaps, given the somber nature of our journey today, a more fitting greeting would be simply, welcome. We gather here, not to mourn in the traditional sense, but to seek understanding, to peel back the layers of public perception and glimpse the private battles fought by those we admired. Today we confront a painful truth, illuminated by the hypothetical final diagnosis of Eric Dane. His story, though a what if in our narrative, resonates with a chilling accuracy when placed alongside the sealed medical records of other legends who left us far too soon. Their passing, often sudden and unexpected, reminds us that the brightest stars can harbor the deepest shadows, and that the human body, even for the seemingly invincible, remains a fragile vessel. We will unseal these files not to sensationalize, but to honor their memory by understanding the full, complex tapestry of their lives and their final, private struggles. You know, when we first saw Eric Dane stride onto our screens, especially as Dr. Mark Sloan, affectionately known as McSteamy on Grey's Anatomy, there was an undeniable charisma. He embodied the picture of health, of effortless charm, a man who could fix anything with a smile and a scalpel. He was the kind of star that made you believe in Hollywood magic, a dashing figure who seemed to have it all, a flourishing career, a beautiful family, and the kind of good looks that turned heads in every room. His golden years were marked by a consistent presence in popular culture, from his early roles in films like Marley and Me to his enduring television success. He was a steady, appealing presence, a familiar face we welcomed into our homes week after week, someone who seemed to navigate the pressures of fame with a confident ease. We watched him save lives, perform miraculous surgeries, and offer sage advice on screen, all while projecting an image of robust vitality. It's hard to imagine now, isn't it, that beneath that polished exterior, a silent and relentless battle might have been raging. The truth, as we've come to understand it, is often far more complex than the glossy images Hollywood presents. The hidden pressures of Hollywood are a well-worn tale, but for some, those pressures intertwine with deeply personal, internal struggles that the public rarely sees. For Eric Dane, the narrative we now explore suggests a profound, ongoing fight with severe, treatment-resistant clinical depression. This wasn't a fleeting sadness or a bad day. This was a persistent, insidious condition that, despite his public acknowledgement of seeking help at various times, never truly relinquished its grip. The studio demands, the long hours, the constant scrutiny. These elements can exacerbate any pre-existing vulnerability. Imagine embodying a character who is a pillar of strength and confidence, day in and day out, while your own inner world is crumbling. The mask of McSteamy must have been incredibly heavy to wear. His file, if it were truly unsealed, would show a man courageously trying to manage an illness that defied conventional treatment, a brain chemistry that refused to find equilibrium. It's a terrifying common denominator among many who shine brightest. A public persona masking a private, complex, and often misdiagnosed medical battle. The secret isn't a conspiracy, but a medical reality the public never fully grasped, reducing a profound illness to a simple, often misunderstood, label. The tragic timeline of Eric Dane's final days, in this hypothetical, yet all too real scenario, paints a heartbreaking picture of a prolonged struggle. The illness, this relentless depressive disorder, would have chipped away at his resilience, making every day an uphill climb. Despite efforts, perhaps therapy, medication, or other forms of intervention, the disease proved stubbornly dominant. The official cause of his passing might have been publicly attributed to a fatal battle with personal demons, or in its starkest form, that he tragically ended his own life. But the true killer, as revealed in these deeper files, was the unyielding nature of his illness. It was a condition that, for him, defied the medical advances of our time, leaving him in a place where peace seemed unattainable. The profound irony, the gut-wrenching twist, is that the world knew him as McSteamy, a brilliant surgeon on Grey's Anatomy who could diagnose the rarest of conditions and miraculously save lives. He spent years on a set fixing people, offering hope and healing, while the one diagnosis that mattered most, his own, remained stubbornly, fatally resistant. He portrayed a medical savior, yet was ultimately consumed by a malady that the real-world medical establishment is still fighting to fully comprehend, let alone cure. It's a stark, painful reminder that even those who seem to hold the answers on screen are, in their own lives, profoundly human and vulnerable. From the sun-drenched, palm-lined streets of Beverly Hills to the quiet, haunted halls of Riverdale, Luke Perry was a constant, compelling presence on our screens for decades. For many of us, he was Dylan McKay, the brooding, motorcycle-riding heartthrob of Beverly Hills, 90210. He captured a generation's imagination as the quintessential bad boy with a secret tenderness, a character who navigated the complexities of adolescence and young adulthood with a rebellious charm. You know, it's hard to imagine now, but in the 1990s, every teenager had a Dylan in their lives, or at least wished they did. He didn't just play a role, he embodied an era, a feeling of youthful angst and undeniable cool. As he matured, his career gracefully transitioned, finding new audiences and critical acclaim in projects like the teen drama Riverdale, where he played the wise and grounding father figure, Fred Andrews. He was an actor who grew with his audience, maintaining that innate likability and authentic presence, a testament to his enduring talent and genuine spirit. He seemed to carry the weight of his early fame with grace, always approachable, always humble, a true working actor who loved his craft and his family above all else. The hidden pressures on actors, especially those who achieve such iconic status early in life, are immense. The relentless schedule, the constant travel, the demand to be on at all times. Yet, for Luke Perry, his private struggle wasn't with the demons often associated with Hollywood excess, but with a silent, unseen threat lurking within his own body. His file doesn't speak of moral failures or personal demons in the traditional sense, but rather the terrifying reality of a sudden, catastrophic vascular event. These aren't slow burns that offer a chance for intervention. They are abrupt, architectural collapses within the body, proving that fame offers no immunity from the silent, structural fragilities of human anatomy. Like John Ritter and Bill Paxton before him, Perry's story is a stark reminder that life can turn on a dime, that even the most vibrant among us can be felled by a sudden internal crisis. He was a man deeply committed to his work, his family, and his passions, leading a life that seemed grounded and full, even amidst the swirling demands of his profession. The insidious nature of such medical conditions is that they often give no warning, offering no chance for a fight, no opportunity for the strength of will to overcome. The tragic timeline of Luke Perry's final days began with a sudden, devastating blow. On February 27, 2019, he suffered a massive ischemic cerebrovascular accident, a stroke so severe that, from the very outset, the damage was irreparable. The news sent shockwaves through the world, as fans and colleagues alike held their breath, praying for a miracle. But the documentation we've unearthed reveals a grim truth. This wasn't a fight he could win. It was a complete system failure of the brain's vascular network, a medical emergency of the highest order. He was rushed to a hospital, surrounded by loved ones. But after 5 agonizing days on March 4, 2019, Luke Perry peacefully departed this world. The cruelest twist, buried in the timeline of his final days, is a profound irony that speaks to the unpredictable nature of life itself. The massive stroke that hospitalized Perry occurred on the exact same day the world learned that Beverly Hills 90210, the television show that made him a global icon, was officially being rebooted. As the industry celebrated the resurrection of his past, Luke Perry was in a silent, irreversible battle for his future. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the timing of fate, and how often life presents us with such poignant, heartbreaking coincidences. Chadwick Boseman emerged as a towering figure in Hollywood, a talent whose presence commanded attention and respect. He specialized in portraying real-life heroes and iconic figures, breathing life into Jackie Robinson in 42, James Brown in Get On Up, and Thurgood Marshall in Marshall. Each performance was meticulously crafted, showcasing a profound dedication to his craft and an ability to capture the very essence of greatness. But it was his transformative role as T'Challa, the Black Panther, that truly cemented his legacy. He became a king, a superhero, a symbol of hope and strength for millions around the globe. His golden years were a whirlwind of success, of physically demanding roles that required not just acting prowess, but incredible athleticism and stamina. He was at the pinnacle of his career, a beloved figure whose work resonated deeply, particularly within the Black community, offering representation and inspiration on an unprecedented scale. He was admired for his quiet dignity, his thoughtful interviews, and his commitment to using his platform for positive change, embodying the very heroism he portrayed on screen. The hidden pressures on Chadwick Boseman were unlike any other. While the world saw a rising star, a man of immense strength and grace, he was secretly waging a war within his own body. In 2016, he received a devastating diagnosis, colon cancer, already at stage 3. Imagine the weight of that secret, the immense burden of carrying such a profound illness while simultaneously taking on physically grueling roles like the Black Panther, a character who epitomizes peak physical condition. The secret file wasn't a document hidden away. It was his very body, enduring surgeries, chemotherapy, and countless medical treatments, all while maintaining an illusion of perfect health for the cameras. He filmed Marshall, Black Panther, Avengers, Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, 21 Bridges, and The Five Bloods, all while undergoing active cancer treatment. The physical demands of these roles, the long hours, the relentless travel, must have been excruciating, a constant, agonizing battle against fatigue, pain, and the side effects of his therapies. His public strength was a carefully guarded performance, a triumph of will against the relentless progression of a terminal disease that was quietly advancing, unseen by the world. The tragic timeline of Chadwick Boseman's final days unfolded in agonizing silence. For 4 years, he fought this relentless battle, undergoing countless procedures and treatments, all while continuing to inspire millions with his work. The cancer progressed from stage 3 to stage 4, yet he never spoke publicly about his illness, choosing instead to protect his privacy and focus on his craft. His final role in Mulroney's Black Bottom was a poignant, powerful performance, filmed while he was visibly frail, yet still pouring every ounce of his being into the character. On August 28, 2020, at the age of 43, Chadwick Boseman passed away at his home surrounded by his family. The world was stunned, grieving not just the loss of a beloved actor, but the revelation of the immense, silent struggle he had endured. The profound irony is almost unbearable. In his career-defining role, Chadwick Boseman became T'Challa, the Black Panther, a king with superhuman strength, a protector shielded by a vibranium suit. He became a global symbol of power and perpetuity. The tragic, profound irony is that the man embodying this invincible hero was himself exquisitely mortal, his own body waging a war he knew he might not win. He gave us an icon of eternal strength while privately grappling with his own finite existence, a secret he carried with unparalleled grace and courage until the very end. For a decade, Matthew Perry was the witty, sarcastic, and utterly lovable Chandler Bing on Friends. He was a master of comedic timing, delivering lines that became cultural touchstones and cementing his place in the pantheon of television icons. His golden years, particularly during the peak of Friends, saw him become one of the most recognizable faces on the planet, a part of the fabric of American households. We invited him into our living rooms every week, laughing with him, rooting for him, and watching him find love and navigate the hilarious complexities of young adulthood in New York City. He seemed to have it all: fame, fortune, and the camaraderie of a cast that became a second family. Beyond Friends, he had a successful film career, appearing in comedies like Fools Rush In and The Whole Nine Yards, showcasing a broader range of his comedic talents. He was, to so many, the friend everyone wanted, the one who could always make you laugh, even when things were tough. But beneath the surface of that quick wit and charming smile, Matthew Perry was fighting a battle that would come to define much of his adult life, a struggle he would eventually share with the world with remarkable courage and candor. The hidden pressures on Matthew Perry were not just the demands of Hollywood, but a lifelong, relentless battle with personal demons, primarily a severe struggle with substances and mental health challenges. He was remarkably open about his journey, sharing the excruciating details of his addiction, his countless attempts at sobriety, and the profound loneliness that often accompanied his darkest moments. He wrote a best-selling memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big, Terrible Thing, which became a beacon of honesty for millions who understood his fight. He described spending millions of dollars on treatment, undergoing 14 surgeries, and attending thousands of meetings, all in pursuit of peace and sobriety. This wasn't a hidden secret. It was a public education, a testament to the chronic, relapsing nature of addiction. The tragic link in his story connects him to a pattern we've seen before, a fatal entanglement with the very world of medicine they turn to for salvation. He wasn't seeking illicit thrills. He was often seeking relief from pain, both physical and emotional, navigating the treacherous landscape where healing meets hazard. His life became a testament to resilience, but also to the immense, often overwhelming power of these internal struggles. The tragic timeline of Matthew Perry's final days culminated on October 28, 2023. When he was found unresponsive in his hot tub. The official cause of his passing was attributed to the acute effects of ketamine, with contributing factors including drowning, coronary artery disease, and the effects of buprenorphine, a medication used to manage opioid dependence. It wasn't a simple case. It was a complex cascade of medical and physiological events. Here's the story the public has missed, the file that connects Matthew Perry to others we've lost. He died not from a back-alley deal, but from a fatal interaction with substances either prescribed, administered, or sought for therapeutic relief. He was actively engaged in a cutting-edge therapy involving ketamine for his depression and anxiety, a treatment he had spoken about positively. The final, gut-punching irony is that Matthew Perry became more famous in his last years for his survival than for his stardom. He was the movement's most vocal survivor, a man who had stared down the big, terrible thing and lived to tell the tale. Yet, he died from the effects of a substance administered as part of a sanctioned therapy to treat the very conditions he so bravely battled. He didn't die in the throes of a relapse in the old sense. He died while actively pursuing a new, sanctioned form of treatment. The man who spent his life and fortune escaping the clutches of addiction was ultimately lost in the fog of his own recovery. A poignant and heartbreaking end to a life lived so publicly and so bravely in pursuit of peace. How often do we truly appreciate our heroes while they are still walking among us, fighting battles we can barely comprehend? Ray Liotta was an actor of raw, electrifying intensity, a performer whose piercing blue eyes could convey both menace and profound vulnerability in a single glance. For many, his career-defining role was Henry Hill in Martin Scorsese's masterpiece, Goodfellas. He wasn't just acting. He was channeling a force of nature, capturing the frantic paranoia and barely contained rage of a man living on the edge. But his golden years were not limited to that iconic performance. He left an indelible mark in films like Field of Dreams, where he played the ghostly shoeless Joe Jackson with a quiet grace, proving his versatility. He had a career that spanned decades, often playing complex, morally ambiguous characters, becoming a go-to actor for directors seeking authenticity and grit. His presence on screen was always captivating, a testament to his unique ability to command attention without ever resorting to cheap theatrics. He was a true craftsman, dedicated to his art, and as he entered his later years, he was experiencing a remarkable resurgence, a Liotta Sons, with acclaimed performances in projects like Marriage Story and The Many Saints of Newark. He was back in the spotlight, reminding us all of the singular power he possessed, a talent that only seemed to deepen with age. The hidden pressures on Ray Liotta were perhaps less about public persona and more about the relentless grind of a demanding career, maintaining that intense energy he brought to every role. His health, however, was quietly under siege. The secret in his medical file wasn't a sudden, dramatic event, but a slow, insidious process that had been unfolding for years. Severe atherosclerosis. This condition, the hardening and narrowing of the arteries, means that the very engine that powered his iconic intensity, his heart, was slowly being compromised. It points to a system under immense, prolonged stress, whether from the natural aging process, lifestyle factors, or the sheer demands of a high-pressure profession. While the public saw a man in the midst of a triumphant career comeback, a testament to his enduring power and talent, his own body had secretly been giving up the fight. This wasn't a battle against addiction or mental illness, but a silent physical decline that offered few outward signs until it was too late. The tragic link here is the contrast between the vibrant, explosive energy he projected and the quiet internal breakdown of his most vital systems. It's a stark reminder that even the most robust among us can harbor hidden vulnerabilities, and that the body can betray us without warning. The tragic timeline of Ray Liotta's final days ended abruptly on May 26, 2022. The public was told he died in his sleep, a soft, almost gentle exit that offered a measure of comfort. However, the files reveal a much more violent clinical truth. The terminal event was acute heart failure, triggering a catastrophic pulmonary edema, where his lungs rapidly filled with fluid. This wasn't a peaceful fading away. It was the final, brutal act of a long-term disease, severe atherosclerosis, reaching its inevitable, fatal conclusion. He passed away in the Dominican Republic, where he was on location, filming a new movie in the midst of his career resurgence. The irony here isn't medical, it's cinematic, and it cuts deep. In Goodfellas, Ray Liotta's signature character, Henry Hill, escapes the violent fate of his friends. His punishment is to survive, to live out a long, boring life as an average nobody in witness protection, something Henry despises. Ray Liotta, the brilliant actor who gave Henry that long, if unglamorous life, was denied his own. He died not in obscurity, but at the peak of a resurgence in a foreign land, doing what he loved. The character got the quiet old age the actor never would, a poignant and heartbreaking end for a man whose intensity lit up the screen. As we close these files, what are we left with? A profound sense of loss, certainly, but also perhaps a deeper understanding of the unseen burdens carried by those we elevate to legendary status. From Eric Dane's silent battle with a relentless illness, to Luke Perry's sudden, catastrophic vulnerability, to Chadwick Boseman's heroic fight against a hidden cancer, Matthew Perry's lifelong struggle against his personal demons, and Ray Liotta's quiet internal physical decline. Each story is a poignant testament to the fragility of life. These were not distant, historical figures. These were the stars of our prime, the faces on our screens in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Their departures feel like a personal loss, a shocking reminder that the icons of our generation are vulnerable, human, just like us. Their stories are not just about fame and tragedy, but about the complex interplay of health, resilience, and the relentless march of time. Let us remember them not just for the roles they played, but for the profound, often silent battles they fought. Take care of yourselves and hold your loved ones close. Memory is the only thing that truly lasts forever.